Welcome back to Market on Close. I'm Marley, Kayden here in Chicago alongside Sam Vadas at the New York Stock Exchange. We'll close out our show how we always do with some final thoughts on this session. Oil prices spiking after the Trump administration announced new sanctions on Russia's two largest energy companies. That move sparked fears of tightened global supply, sending crude briefly above some recent highs. Analysts telling us they say the sanctions could keep the energy markets volatile as traders gauge how much Russian output will actually come offline. The U.S. says the action is aimed at increasing pressure on Moscow to end the war in Ukraine. Global benchmark Brent rose about 5% to 65.86 a barrel. U.S. crude is at 61.68. That's 5.5% higher. And oil prices have fallen about 15% so far this year. And Intel earnings are out. We just got them. Shares up about 6% right now. The company posted better than expected revenues in the third quarter amid its turnaround plan. The chip maker reported revenue of $13.7 billion on EPS of 23 cents. They also gave an upbeat forecast for the fourth quarter after personal computer demand grew, so really strong numbers from them, seeing a strong move to the upside on top of their already 80+% move to the upside we've seen in the last 3 months, Sam. But a lot of this focus on Intel and what happens tomorrow will be about what we hear on the call.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And we're going to be watching out for what they say and the reaction certainly tomorrow. But for now, we've actually seen quantum computing stocks rallying as well today. And that came after the Wall Street Journal reported several companies were in talks to give the Commerce Department equity stakes in exchange for federal funding. Now, we did see names like IonQ, Rigetti and D-Wave who were all mentioned in the report, surging on optimism that this sector could be the next beneficiary of government support and national security priorities. Now, interestingly, coming off the session's highs, that's because CNBC later reporting that the Commerce Department had actually denied the Journal's story. Now, the Trump administration, as we know, has recently been taking equity stakes in companies and industries that it sees as strategically important, really to get ahead and also to compete with China, including MP Materials, which is in the business of rare earths, and Intel, of course, which just reported earnings and its first report card, of course, since that equity stake. But heading into tomorrow, what will you be looking out for, Marley?
Oh, we've got a mega cap reporting in the morning. Procter & Gamble, I think the last I looked, the 34th largest company by market cap, has their earnings. Revenue expected to come in at $22.15 billion. That would be about a 2% rise from the year ago quarter. On the earnings front, expecting $1.90 a share. That would be a decrease of about 1.5%. Now, Procter & Gamble has been actively implementing cost-saving initiatives and productivity enhancements to try to strengthen its margin numbers and maintain some of its competitive edge. So that is expected to continue to fuel performance in the first quarter. It's their fiscal first quarter, and aiding organic sales. That organic sales number will be very important in their report. Also, economists are expecting an elevated CPI print tomorrow. That, of course, we've been talking about, forecasting a 0.3% rise in the core September reading. That would leave it up at 3.1% on an annual basis, which is, as we know, above the Fed's target. JP Morgan Chase came out saying that they see a roughly 65% chance that the S&P will advance following the release, even if the numbers are elevated. They say that the firm sees a setup for stocks that they're saying is less volatile than usual, with investor expectations that the Fed will ease again on October 9th, likely offsetting any inflation-related uneasiness. So we'll be interesting to see if that proves true. How about you, Sam?
Well, obviously, there's a couple of other names that'll be reporting as well. We'll be hearing from aerospace and defense company General Dynamics before the open as well. Now, we've already heard from some of the bellwethers in the space. I mean, RTX or Raytheon had a strong showing, while Lockheed Martin's results beat estimates as well. It was only Northrop which really missed on that revenue, but these companies have raised their outlooks for the year as they all continue to benefit from global defense spending right now, even in the face of some of the economic uncertainties and also those tariffs too. So General Dynamics shares are up about 30% year to date, and was up about 1% ahead of earnings today. So, it's going to be a very interesting day as we cap off what has been a pretty big week as far as this sort of earnings bonanza. But we'll be busy passing over more report cards tomorrow, but also that CPI, which is going to be a very interesting story, Marley.
Yes, lots of movement and a lot of movement just in the earnings we've already seen. Sam, Ford now up 4% after the initial response to their earnings. Intel trading almost 8% higher on the heels of their earnings, and Decker's now down down about 8.5% following their earnings. But that is going to do it for us today on Market on Close.